Thank you for listening. This course was created to help you succeed in your educational journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional podcasts, books, newsletters, and cool merchandise await. Let's get started. Program management in AI security refers to the structured coordination of many individual projects into a cohesive program with shared objectives. Rather than treating monitoring, vendor reviews, training, and incident response as isolated efforts, program management integrates them under governance priorities and long-term strategies. It defines scope, allocates resources, tracks progress, and adapts based on evolving threats and regulations. The distinguishing factor is sustainability. Projects have start and end dates, but programs endure, setting the rhythm for continuous improvement. In AI security, program management ensures that safeguards scale with deployments, compliance grows with regulations, and accountability matches the pace of innovation. Done well, it prevents fragmentation, aligns technical work with business strategy, and provides leadership with predictable updates on both risks and achievements. The 30-day objectives in a 30/60/90ths framework establish quick wins and foundational awareness. The first month focuses on immediate risk assessments, cataloging AI systems, data pipelines, vendors, and integration points. Policies that already exist, such as acceptable use of models or access controls, are enforced consistently, signaling seriousness. Baseline monitoring is launched, often through quick dashboards that track token usage, anomalies in outputs, or unusual access attempts. Awareness sessions introduce staff to adversarial risks, prompt misuse, and data leakage, ensuring that those closest to the work understand threats. The point is not perfection, but motion. In 30 days, leaders and staff should see evidence of progress and a shared baseline from which to grow. These early steps build credibility and momentum while reducing glaring exposures. By 60 days, the program moves from inventory to structure. Governance policies are rolled out formally, with mapped controls and assigned owners for AI systems. Telemetry integration expands so model outputs, tool calls, and access events flow into existing monitoring platforms and can be correlated with network or identity alerts. Vendor risk reviews begin, testing contracts, sub-processors, and access scopes for alignment with policy. Red team exercises introduce stress, simulating prompt injection, data leakage or poisoning attempts, and revealing weak spots in detection and response. The 60-day mark demonstrates depth, progress is measurable, controls are embedded in workflows, and leadership sees that security is not just an aspiration, but a living, evolving system. At 90 days, the program takes shape as a repeatable governance engine. Controls are aligned with external frameworks, privacy regimes, AI-specific legislation, sectoral standards, and mapped clearly to policies and evidence. Incident response playbooks are formalized, with staff rehearsed on who escalates, who contains, and who communicates. Model registry protections are enforced, so every model has versioned lineage, provenance, and rollback checkpoints. Board-level reporting begins, offering executives and directors dashboards with risk trends, incident response metrics, and compliance status. 90 days does not mean completion. It means maturity has reached the point where leaders can govern by evidence, teams can act by playbook, and external stakeholders can be shown proof. It is the foundation on which quarters and years of disciplined iteration can build. The benefits of a 30/60/90ths framework flow from its pacing. Structured timelines prevent the paralysis of boil-the-ocean ambitions, showing that security can progress without waiting for perfect solutions. Milestones are measurable, creating visible proof of advancement and clear handoffs to leadership. The framework balances speed and depth. The first month addresses urgent exposures, the second builds structure, and the third embeds governance, avoiding both false speed and endless planning. Scalability follows, because the same framework can be applied at team, department, or enterprise level. By giving everyone a shared calendar and a predictable cadence, 30/60/90ths keeps momentum high and expectations clear, turning broad objectives into digestible, executable steps that actually land in production. Resource allocation makes these timelines realistic. Budget planning must tie dollars to milestones. Telemetry integration requires platform investment. Red team exercises require tooling and staff time, and audits require external assessments. Staffing security teams with engineers, compliance officers, and data scientists ensures coverage across pipelines, law, and model behavior. Allocation for tooling recognizes that evidence collection, risk monitoring, and automation save time compared to manual checklists. External assessments, penetration testing, independent audits, tabletop facilitation add credibility and uncover blind spots. Linking each resource to a 30/60/90ths deliverable helps leadership justify spend and keeps teams accountable. Without aligned resources, objectives drift into aspiration. With them, milestones become a confident march toward maturity. Metrics for program success turn intentions into accountability. Risk reduction scores show whether exposures identified in early assessments have been remediated or reduced in severity. Compliance percentages measure the proportion of systems with required controls, signed models, documented data rights, red team results. Incident response times capture how quickly teams detect, contain, and recover, with trends expected to improve as playbooks mature. Training completion rates demonstrate that awareness and skill building are not isolated events, but sustained across roles and regions. Present these metrics as deltas, not absolutes. What improved in 30, 60, 90 days, and what remains open? When metrics tie back to milestones, they reassure leadership that progress is tangible, gaps are visible, and the program is steering toward resilience, not just producing paperwork. Governance integration makes a program management framework more than a checklist. Each milestone is mapped directly to policy requirements, ensuring that quick wins and long-term deliverables contribute to the same compliance narrative. For example, the 30-day risk assessment feeds into your risk register, the 60-day red team results link to threat management policies, and the 90-day incident response playbooks become evidence for regulatory audits. Accountability is visible. Owners are named for each deliverable, and their progress is reported upward through governance committees. Reporting progress to executives turns milestones into board-level confidence, showing not only what is complete, but also how it aligns to laws and frameworks. Regulatory readiness is strengthened when artifacts produced along the way, logs, manifests, playbooks, are audit-ready, reducing surprises when external scrutiny arrives. Governance provides the spine that keeps distributed tasks aligned and provable. Communication of progress ensures stakeholders understand the program's trajectory. Regular stakeholder updates translate technical advances into risk language, exposures closed, detections added, incidents rehearsed. Executive dashboards provide concise visualizations, coverage percentages, incident trends, training completion, that can be absorbed quickly at steering committees and board meetings. Risk trend reports go deeper, showing whether residual risk is shrinking, stabilizing, or growing, and highlighting where investment or attention is most needed. Transparent tracking matters as much as the results. When teams can see how their work fits into the bigger picture, they sustain energy, and when leadership sees reliable reporting, they trust the program. Communication prevents drift into black box security. Instead, it demonstrates disciplined progress, measurable outcomes, and shared ownership of both challenges and improvements. Scaling the 30/60/90ths pattern extends its usefulness beyond a single team. Applying it to multiple groups ensures consistency, whether for data science in one region, engineering in another, or compliance across the enterprise. Global program alignment relies on distributed governance. Local stewards drive progress under a shared baseline, and central oversight reviews results for coherence. Periodic resets, quarterly or semi-annual, refresh the clock, setting new 30-day quick wins, 60-day structure, and 90-day maturity targets. This cadence keeps programs from stagnating or drifting as threats evolve and business priorities shift. The pattern becomes a rhythm. Every quarter brings visible progress, achievable goals, and demonstrable evidence. Scaling prevents security from becoming patchy or siloed. Instead, it becomes an enterprise habit, reproducible regardless of geography, unit, or workload. Challenges in execution remind us that patterns are only as strong as their adoption. Limited resources may mean teams struggle to cover both quick wins and deep audits, forcing trade-offs that must be communicated clearly. Resistance to change can appear when staff see governance as slowing innovation. Here, leadership must frame controls as accelerators, not blockers. Misaligned priorities across business units undermine momentum if some teams chase features while others focus on compliance. Unclear accountability leads to finger-pointing when milestones are missed. Overcoming these challenges requires visible sponsorship, resource alignment, and clarity of roles. Recognize that friction is normal in cultural change, and build trust by showing progress in increments. Each achieved milestone proving that the pattern is real, valuable, and worth continuing. Strategic importance is why the 30/60/90ths model endures. It structures adoption of AI security in digestible phases, preventing fragmented initiatives that leave gaps and duplication. Leadership gains assurance. They see a roadmap, evidence of completion, and predictable metrics, which builds confidence internally and externally. Clients and regulators interpret visible milestones as maturity, deepening trust in your services. Internally, the cadence creates psychological safety. Teams know the scope of each phase and can plan realistically. Strategically, the framework ensures AI scaling is not a scatter of disconnected efforts, but a deliberate, cumulative build toward resilience. It translates urgency into order, risk into progress, and ambition into credibility. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Tooling for program management ensures that a 30/60/90ths framework can be executed reliably and repeated across cycles. Project management platforms track tasks, deadlines, and owners, linking each deliverable to broader milestones. Governance dashboards provide visibility into control coverage, incident metrics, and remediation status, turning raw activity into decision-ready information. Compliance automation tools handle recurring burdens log collection, policy verification, red team evidence, so staff can focus on judgment rather than paperwork. Reporting frameworks consolidate these feeds into audit-ready packages, formatted for executives, regulators, and clients. The value is not in any single tool but in the integration. When project, governance, compliance, and reporting systems speak to one another, program status becomes a living view rather than a quarterly artifact. Tools make structure visible, transparent, and harder to ignore. Integration with risk frameworks ensures that milestones connect to enterprise-wide priorities. Each action policy rollout, telemetry integration, vendor review is logged into the risk register as a control tied to a specific exposure. Remediation tasks are linked to risks, giving executives clear views of which dangers are shrinking and which remain. Escalation of unresolved risks becomes structured. Missed milestones trigger committee review and, if necessary, board-level discussion. Continuous review prevents stale entries, as teams refresh residual risk scores based on outcomes of playbooks, exercises, or audits. The 30/60/90ths framework then becomes more than project management. It is the engine that feeds the risk program with live evidence. Instead of abstract charts, leaders see concrete connections between security work, risks reduced, and accountability lines for what remains open. Continuous improvement is the hallmark of a living program. At each 90-day boundary, leaders conduct rolling reviews: what was achieved, what fell short, and what new risks or regulations emerged. Gaps are identified openly, logged into backlogs, and assigned to future cycles, preventing issues from vanishing into silence. Iterative program refresh means refining playbooks, updating governance policies, revising metrics, and reprioritizing resources to address real-world lessons. Adaptation to new threats ensures the cadence stays relevant. When adversaries develop new prompt injection techniques or regulators publish updated guidance, these flow naturally into the next 30-day quick wins and 60-day structure. Continuous improvement turns the framework from a one-time sprint into an ongoing operating model. Progress then becomes cultural. Staff expect iteration, stakeholders see resilience, and leadership measures maturity as a curve, not a point. Board-level oversight anchors program management in corporate governance. Strategic alignment with business goals ensures AI security is not a side project but a condition for innovation, customer trust, and market access. Risk accountability is clarified. Directors ask what risks remain, how they are mitigated, and what evidence supports the claims. Budget approvals link directly to roadmap items, showing why investments in telemetry, training, or vendor reviews are necessary to close identified gaps. Reporting metrics, incident response times, compliance coverage, training completion are presented as trends and deltas, not isolated snapshots. Boards do not want anecdotes. They want assurance that risk curves are bending downward and that security is predictable, repeatable, and scalable. Oversight at this level elevates AI security from operational detail to a boardroom priority. Cross-team coordination makes program management a shared endeavor rather than a siloed burden. Security aligns with AI research to shape safe model behavior and evaluation. Compliance and legal ensure that governance maps directly to regulatory obligations, closing the gap between code and law. Operations coordinate deployment schedules, monitoring baselines, and rollback rehearsals so controls fit real production cadence. Shared success metrics risk reduction, incident response times, audit readiness give all teams common ground, and collaborative milestones emphasize joint accountability. Role clarity is critical. Each function knows its inputs, outputs, and neighbors, reducing friction and duplication. Coordination transforms program management from a set of forms into an ecosystem where every discipline contributes to resilience and trust. The end state of this pattern is maturity in governance processes. Security becomes a property of how the enterprise builds and operates AI, not a scramble after incidents. Scaling AI initiatives is secure because controls and playbooks evolve alongside deployments. Compliance readiness is sustained. Audits, certifications, and customer reviews find prepared evidence rather than patchwork. Culture shifts toward resilience, with staff expecting to adapt and improve each cycle, leaders measuring maturity with metrics, and stakeholders trusting the process. The 30/60/90ths framework is not the only model, but it captures the essence. Structure progress, measure outcomes, adapt continuously, and align with governance at every level. It is the bridge between ambition and assurance in AI security. The conclusion of this episode circles back to the heart of program management: pacing, alignment, and resilience. A 30/60/90ths day framework is valuable because it gives organizations a rhythm. In the first month, teams act quickly, reducing glaring risks and building momentum with visible wins. By 60 days, structure sets in policies, telemetry, vendor reviews, and red team exercises that give substance to governance. At 90 days, the program matures into something auditable, reportable, and strategic, with board-level engagement and repeatable playbooks. Milestones create accountability and visibility, but their deeper benefit is cultural. Staff see that progress is measured and celebrated, leaders see evidence rather than promises, and regulators or customers see a coherent, disciplined system rather than scattered initiatives. The framework turns ambition into sustained practice. We highlighted the benefits of the 30/60/90ths approach as structured pacing, measurable milestones, and balance between speed and depth. These features scale well. What works for one team can be extended enterprise-wide through standardized templates, distributed governance, and global alignment. Alongside benefits, challenges exist. Resources may be tight, priorities can misalign, and resistance to change may slow adoption. The framework anticipates those obstacles by providing clarity on roles, ownership, and outcomes, helping leaders make deliberate trade-offs rather than defaulting to drift. Success is not judged by perfection at 90 days, but by a visible trajectory toward reduced risks, stronger compliance, and a culture that expects iterative improvement. This is why the pattern endures. It proves that AI security can move quickly without becoming chaotic. Strategically, program management patterns are how organizations prevent fragmentation and sustain credibility. Fragmentation occurs when teams pursue isolated projects with no common cadence or governance. Credibility erodes when leaders cannot show evidence of progress or control. A structured framework answers both, embedding governance into everyday tasks while producing clear reporting streams for executives and boards. Trust follows naturally. Clients see commitment to discipline, regulators see alignment with expectations, and staff experience security as scaffolding rather than bureaucracy. The pattern also ensures resilience. When people rotate, vendors change, or threats evolve, the program does not collapse. It continues its cycle, adapting in measured increments. Security is not a state to achieve, it is a practice to maintain, and program management is the discipline that makes that practice sustainable. With the 30/60/90ths framework, you now have a model for structured adoption that leaders can fund, staff can follow, and auditors can verify. Each cycle yields a stronger foundation. Inventories become registries, policies become playbooks, playbooks become rehearsed habits, and metrics become trusted signals. That compounding effect is why program management sits at the strategic core of AI security. It links daily work to governance, converts evidence into assurance, and gives resilience a schedule. In the next episode, we expand our lens to multimodal security, where risks and controls must stretch across text, image, audio, and video systems. There, the same programmatic discipline applies, but the diversity of modalities introduces new attack surfaces and new opportunities for layered defense. You will see how the patterns we've built so far translate into a broader, more complex frontier. Thanks for tuning in to Bare Metal Cyber, your trusted source for cybersecurity educational materials, news, and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.